Hi, I'm Jared Falk, and today I'm going to teach you how to tune the toms on your drum set. And I don't necessarily want to say teach, but I want to show you guys how I tune my toms. Now, I get countless comments, countless emails from drummers saying your drums sound unbelievable, specifically the toms. Exactly what do you do to get that sound, all right? Now, I first want to say it starts with good drums, okay? I'm using Maple Shell DW Exotic drums, and this was my dream drum set. I know I always get comments saying, can I have your drum set? No, you can't have my drum set. This is my dream drum set. I saved up for like over 10 years to buy it. It's just exactly what I've always wanted. I don't think I'm ever going to sell it. Okay, so it starts with that. The next important thing is good drum heads. Now, I've been so fortunate enough to be endorsed by Evans Drumheads, who don't only make great drums, but are also just amazing people. Working with Jim and Larry has just been outstanding, and I couldn't ask for a better partnership. And I've chosen, of all the drum heads they've offered, I've chosen a G2 coated, which is basically a 2-ply, 7 mil thick. Okay, each ply is 7 mil, and so that's a 14 mil head with a coating on top of it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and for the sake of keeping this video relatively short, I'm going to kind of tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to quickly do it. We're going to shut off the cams, or we'll speed them up, and then we can get to the actual tuning process, okay? Because I'm actually changing the heads here today too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to remove the drum heads, and I'm just going to loosen these all, just move around the drum, okay? I don't want to loosen the whole tuning, every single tuning peg at once, because it might warp the rim or just screw something up with that. So just slowly move around the drum, doing like a half or quarter turn. And then from there, you'll just take your fingers and turn the tension rods and just remove the rim completely. So I'm going to do that on all the drums now, okay guys? So it's going to start speeding up right now. So we got the rims off very quickly there, hey? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the 10-inch head off. I'm gonna do this one first, okay? Now this is always a good time to polish your drums, okay? I'm not gonna do that now, just for the sake of time. Here I got my drum head. Okay, and now what I do is I just first set the head on, and I like to line up the logo along with the tom mount. You guys can do whatever you want. Some people don't care, they just throw them over, they don't mind if they're upside down. I'm so anal with this kind of stuff, so I like to have it perfect. All right, so we got that. Then I put the rim back on. And I'm just gonna hand tighten all of these, okay? And then the tuning process will start. So we're gonna do that with all the drum heads now, okay? We're gonna put on the head, tighten these tension rods as tight as we can, just with our fingers. Then I'm going to show you what I do to actually tweak the drums using a drum key. All right? So here we go. Now that I have all the drum heads on and all the tension rods are hand tight, now I'm going to get my drum key and I'm going to slowly start to tweak. So I'm just going to go around a half a turn around the drums to start. That one's actually a little bit looser than the other ones, and you might find that because they're not, even though they're hand tight, some of the lugs are a little bit, they don't have enough grease in them, and so the tension rods are actually really hard to get hand tight or as tight as the other ones, so sometimes you'll have to tweak it with a drum key as well. Again. And another thing I want to say is a lot of drummers will seat their tom heads as well, which what I mean by that is they'll put the head on, then they'll put their fist in the middle and actually stretch the drum heads, and you'll hear it crack there a little bit. Honestly, I normally don't do that. And I know some haters are going to be hating on me saying, why don't you seat your drum heads? Why are you telling people not to seat your drum heads? They just sound amazing when I just put the head on and screw it tight, and they hold their tune like unbelievably. And so I don't find that as hugely necessary, and so that's why I don't always do it. Now, if you want to do it, go ahead, okay? This is my way, this is what I do to get the drum sound that I have on these drums. So take from it what you want and use it, and disregard what you don't want, all right? So now that I've kind of just tuned it up a little bit, I'm just going to hit it and hear how it sounds. Okay, so you're going to hear it go wow, wow, wow. I don't like that at all. I like to hear just a do, do, do. Okay? And with the reso head, I actually didn't make any adjustments, nor am I changing the reso head, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what I want to do there. First, I know that this needs to come up a little bit higher. So I'm just going to go around one more time. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just check the pitch by each tension rod. So I'm going to tap here and tap over here. Can you hear the difference? So this one up here is a little bit lower, so I'm just going to turn that up a little bit. Now I'm going to do this one. Now this one feels a little bit low for me. I hope this is coming through, the mic's fine for you guys. You guys might be like, no, the other one's low. But this is how I'm hearing it from this side of the drum set, okay? Now let's do this other one. And this one over here seems a little bit low, so I'm gonna bring that up. All right, now I'm gonna hit the drum again, hear how it sounds. Okay, that sounds really, really good. And I'm a little bit surprised. I actually didn't think it was gonna be that easy. Normally it's not. But it just was. And that's what I absolutely love about these drum heads is I put them on and they just sound really, really good. I don't know what the deal is. I remember when I was like 15, 16 playing drums. I'm 29 now. So almost 15 years ago, I remember just struggling with tom sounds. I could not get my drums or my toms to sound the way I wanted them to sound. So it takes time, you know, to figure it out, to get a knack for, you know, exactly what you need to do when you get your drum heads. And so just try stuff. Take off your heads, put them back on. Work with the sound, work with the reso head. You know, try different batter heads every time you change your heads. All right? Now what I want to talk about is the tension of the top head, the batter head, in relation to the resonant head. Now, a lot of people say the tone should be the same. So if I hit the 10-inch reso or batter head, you hear that dun 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 or dun 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 dun. I want that same tension on the bottom. Now, I usually like to tune it a little bit lower than the top head, okay? Some drummers will say tune them so they're exactly the same, and that's totally cool because it's whatever sound you're trying to achieve. So let's listen to the bottom. So the reso head is actually almost exactly the same tone from where I'm sitting. It almost sounds exactly the same, but you guys, the drum sounds really good. So if I was struggling to find the sound or figure out what's wrong with the sound, why am I getting these overtones and stuff like that, I would probably tweak the resonant head first because I've evened up the top head and I've got that sounding and feeling really, really good. So if there was an issue with this drum, and we might find that over here, if there was an issue, I would go to the resonant head, okay? And I would just go by each tuning peg, make sure they're even, and then, you know, do a quarter turn each to tune it up or a quarter turn and tune it down, then hit the drum again and listen to it and hear how it sounds, okay? So now my 10-inch tom is done. Now let's move on to the 12-inch tom, okay? The 10-inch tom generally is the easiest. I find the smaller the tom, the easier it is to tune. So now let's try this one. So again, we're just gonna tune them up. Start to put some tension on the head. You can go ahead and seat the drum head if you want. Put your fist in there. Okay, so I've got it tuned up a little bit. Now let's hit it and hear how it sounds. So it's a pretty long sustain and a little bit too low for me. Now before I go up any more, I'm just gonna check the tone beside each tension rod. Now, a lot of you will probably ask about the tension watch stuff, or like the little meters you can get that you can put on beside each tension rod to measure the tension. I don't use any of that. I'm old school. I just like to just do it by ear. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Even if this one is way lower, even if this tension rod is way lower, but I still like the sound, I'm just gonna leave it because I think it sounds good. And that's where it all starts, is with the sound. So you can go ahead and try those if you want, and that's just kind of like a tire pressure gauge for your drums. It's gonna measure the tension, so if this one is a certain tension, you can make this one exactly the same, and this one exactly the same, stuff like that. There's also something called a torque key, and that is where it'll measure the tension at which you're turning the tension rod, and it'll only let you put a certain amount of tension on it, and then I guess it'll start clicking or something like that. Never tried it, but also a great tool if you guys are really having trouble tuning your toms and you want to kind of work some of that stuff out and get some of those. That's totally fine. Personally, I just don't use it. I prefer to just, go by ear. If it sounds good, let's just do it. So let me just check the tone here. I'm gonna go up a little bit here. Sounds good. So you might find it hard to hear if there's a little bit of a difference, and that's fine. Just take your time. You don't have to learn how to tune your drums overnight, and it's not as simple as, like for guitarists, is this